Let me ask you something. Why are you where you are right now? Why aren't you living your dream life, making more money, feeling unstoppable? I'll tell you why. It's because of what you've been willing to accept. See, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you demand. If you're struggling, it's because you've settled for it. The moment you decide, truly decide, that you will no longer accept less than your absolute best, that is the moment everything changes. If you stay with me until the end of the speech, I promise you one thing. You will walk away with a mindset so powerful that nothing will be able to stop you from achieving what you want. But if you leave now, you'll stay exactly where you are, stuck in the same cycle. So the choice is yours. Do you want to stay the same, or do you want to raise your standards and take control of your destiny? Your standards define your life. Everything you have right now, your success, your happiness, your relationships, your income, is a direct reflection of what you've been willing to accept. If you want more, you must raise your standards. It's that simple. Think about it. Every time you say, this is just how things are, you are setting a limit on what you will tolerate. Every time you say, I guess this is good enough, you are deciding that you don't deserve better. But here's the truth. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you demand. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent, not luck, not intelligence. It's their standards. Look at the most successful people in the world. Do you think they accept mediocrity? Do you think they say, I guess this will do? No. They refuse to settle. They refuse to allow themselves to operate at anything less than the highest level. They demand more from themselves every single day. When others say, that's impossible, they say, watch me. That's the power of high standards. The reason most people stay stuck is that they're too comfortable with their current situation. They want more, but they haven't decided that they must have more. There's a difference between wanting something and demanding it from yourself. Wanting is passive. It's weak. It's wishful thinking. But demanding means you don't give yourself another option. It means you cut off all excuses, all doubts, all hesitations. It means you commit to a higher level no matter what. Think about an area of your life where you're not happy. Maybe it's your health, your finances, your relationships. Now ask yourself, what have you been tolerating? Have you been telling yourself that it's okay to be out of shape? Have you been accepting just getting by financially? Have you been allowing toxic people to drain your energy? These are all reflections of your standards. The moment you decide that something is no longer acceptable in your life, everything changes. Let's talk about fitness. If someone is out of shape, it's because they've accepted a lower standard for their body. They eat whatever they want, they skip workouts, they make excuses. But the person with high standards, they don't allow themselves to eat junk. They don't miss workouts. It's not about willpower, it's about standards. They've set a rule for themselves and they don't break it. It's not even a question. They demand peak performance from their body, and because of that, they get it. The same applies to money. The difference between someone who's broke and someone who's wealthy isn't just knowledge, it's their standards. A broke person might say, I wish I had more money. A wealthy person says, I will never accept being broke. That shift in mindset forces them to think bigger, to take massive action, to find opportunities that others ignore. It's the same world, but their standards force them to play at a higher level. Look at your relationships. Are you surrounded by people who lift you up, challenge you, and push you to be better? Or are you tolerating negativity, drama, and people who hold you back? Your standards determine the kind of people you allow in your life. If you don't set high standards for your relationships, you'll end up with connections that drain you instead of empower you. Raising your standards is about making a decision, a real decision, not just saying you want more, but deciding that you will no longer settle for less. It's about creating new rules for your life and refusing to break them. It's about demanding more from yourself even when no one is watching, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's hard. Because when you raise your standards, everything in your life rises with it. Comfort zones are the enemy of growth. They feel safe, familiar, and predictable, but they are the silent killers of potential. The moment you settle into comfort, you stop pushing yourself, and the second you stop pushing yourself, you start falling behind. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who do what's easy. They are the ones who deliberately put themselves in uncomfortable situations, forcing themselves to grow. Think about it. Everything you've ever wanted but don't yet have exists outside your comfort zone. The career you want, the body you want, the wealth you want, the confidence you want. It all requires you to step into the unknown, to face challenges, to risk failure, But most people never do. They stay where it's safe, where they know what to expect, even if they know they are capable of more. Why? Because the mind is wired for survival, not success. Your brain doesn't care if you reach your full potential. It only cares about keeping you alive. That's why when you try to step out of your comfort zone, your mind starts filling you with fear, doubt, and excuses. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough? These thoughts don't mean anything. They're just your mind trying to keep you safe. But staying safe doesn't lead to greatness. Look at anyone who has ever accomplished something extraordinary. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, they all have one thing in common. They were willing to be uncomfortable. They were willing to fail, to struggle, to take risks that most people wouldn't. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent. It's the willingness to step into discomfort over and over again. Think about a baby learning to walk. They don't get it right the first time. They fall, they stumble, they get back up. But what if they decided it was too hard? What if they said, maybe walking isn't for me? That would be ridiculous, right? But that's exactly what most adults do. They try something once, it feels hard, they fail, and they convince themselves that it's not meant for them. They let fear win. They let their comfort zone trap them in a life that's less than what they are capable of living. Every time you avoid discomfort, you reinforce the idea that you are not capable of handling challenges. But every time you face discomfort head on, you build resilience, confidence, and strength. Growth isn't supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to challenge you. The harder it feels, the more you are growing. That's why the most successful people in the world actively seek out discomfort. They don't wait for things to be easy. They do hard things until they become easy. If you want to level up your life, you must break free from the mindset that comfort is a reward. Comfort is not a reward, it's a trap. The real reward is progress, and progress only happens when you push yourself beyond what feels safe. You don't build muscle by lifting light weights forever. You build muscle by lifting heavier weights, by pushing past your limits, by embracing the discomfort of growth. Ask yourself, where in your life are you avoiding discomfort? Where are you playing it safe? Where are you making excuses instead of taking action? Whatever area you are struggling in, I guarantee that the solution is to get uncomfortable. If you're not fit, it's because you've been avoiding the discomfort of intense workouts and disciplined eating. If you're not successful, it's because you've been avoiding the discomfort of hard work, rejection, and failure. If you're not confident, it's because you've been avoiding the discomfort of putting yourself in challenging situations. Everything you want is on the other side of discomfort. The only question is, are you willing to break free from your comfort zone, or will you let it hold you back for the rest of your life? You don't get what you want in life. You get what you believe you deserve. Your standards, your actions, and your results are all a reflection of your identity, the way you see yourself. If you see yourself as average, you will act in ways that keep you average. If you see yourself as a winner, as someone destined for success, you will naturally take actions that lead to success. Your identity shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes your results. Most people never achieve greatness because they have a limited identity. They say, I'm not the kind of person who makes a lot of money, or I've never been good at fitness, or I'm just not confident. These are not facts. These are beliefs. And as long as you hold on to those beliefs, they will become your reality. Your mind is always looking for ways to prove you right. So if you believe you are not successful, you will unconsciously sabotage yourself to make sure you stay that way. If you believe you are bad at relationships, you will find ways to mess them up. Your identity is like a thermostat. It controls the temperature of your life. If your thermostat is set to 70 degrees, even if you open the window and let hot air in, the system will bring it back down to 70. In the same way, if your internal identity is set to average, no matter how much success you get, you will always find a way to bring yourself back down to what feels normal. That's why people who win the lottery often lose all their money within a few years. Their external reality changed, but their internal identity did not. They still saw themselves as someone who struggles with money. So their actions brought them right back to where they started. On the other hand, people who are truly successful, even if they lose everything, will find a way to build it all back. Why? Because their identity is set at a higher level. They don't just make money, they see themselves as wealthy. So they always take the actions necessary to match that identity. The key to raising your standards is to shift your identity. If you want to change your life, you have to change the way you see yourself. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, start saying, I am successful. Instead of saying, I want to be disciplined, say, I am the type of person who does what needs to be done no matter what. Your brain will start looking for ways to align your reality with your new identity. This is why habits are so important. Every small action you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. If you wake up early, you are casting a vote for being a disciplined person. If you go to the gym, even when you don't feel like it, you are reinforcing the identity of someone who is committed to their health. The more you repeat these actions, the stronger your new identity becomes. Eventually, you won't have to force yourself to take action. It will just be who you are. Look at the people who inspire you. Do you think they struggle with motivation every day? No, they don't need motivation because their actions are aligned with their identity. A champion doesn't have to convince themselves to train. They train because that's who they are. A successful entrepreneur doesn't have to force themselves to work hard. They do it because they see themselves as a leader, a problem solver, a game changer. Their identity demands excellence, so they act accordingly. If you want to change your life, stop focusing on what you want and start focusing on who you need to become. The results you seek are already out there waiting for you, but you can only access them once you elevate your identity. Decide right now that you are no longer the person who settles, who procrastinates, who doubts themselves. Decide that you are someone who demands more, who pushes forward, who wins. Once you shift your identity, everything else will follow. Success comes to those who decide that failure is not an option. The people who achieve the highest levels of success are not necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They are the ones who make a firm decision, a non-negotiable commitment that they will do whatever it takes to win. They remove any possibility of quitting, and because of that, they find a way to succeed no matter what obstacles come their way. Most people never reach their full potential because they leave too many doors open. They give themselves an escape route. They say, I'll try, or I hope this works, or if it doesn't work out, I'll figure something else out. That kind of mindset guarantees failure. Why? Because the moment things get difficult, and they will, you will take the easy way out. You will find an excuse, justify quitting, and go back to your comfort zone. But when something is non-negotiable, you eliminate excuses. There is no maybe. There is no backup plan. There is only forward. Think about someone who is drowning. Do they hesitate before trying to get to the surface? No. They fight with everything they have because survival is non-negotiable. That level of urgency is what separates high achievers from everyone else. They don't just kind of want success. They demand it. They treat it like oxygen. Look at the most successful people in any field. They didn't succeed because things were easy. They succeeded because they refused to accept failure as an outcome. They didn't say, I'll give it a shot. They said, I will make this happen no matter what. That kind of mindset forces you to operate at a higher level. It forces you to get creative, to push harder, to keep going even when everything is against you. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they allow themselves to quit too soon. They give up when it gets tough. They allow distractions, laziness, and fear to dictate their actions. But those who set non-negotiable standards refuse to let anything stop them. They don't wait for motivation. They don't make excuses. They don't entertain the idea of giving up. They do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. Imagine an athlete training for the Olympics. Do they skip workouts because they're tired? Do they eat junk food just because they're craving it? No. They follow their training schedule with military discipline because winning is non-negotiable. It's not about feelings. It's about commitment. That's the kind of mindset you need to develop if you want to achieve greatness. You have to decide that you will not lower your standards for anything or anyone. One of the most powerful things you can do is remove the option to quit. If you give yourself an escape route, you will take it the moment things get hard. But if you tell yourself this is happening no matter what, you eliminate doubt. You eliminate hesitation. You force yourself to figure it out, to find a way, to make it work. Think about the areas in your life where you've been making excuses. Maybe you've been saying you'll start a business, but you haven't committed fully. Maybe you've been telling yourself you'll get in shape, but you keep allowing yourself to skip workouts. Maybe you've been wanting to change your life, but you've been waiting for the right time. The right time is now. The moment you make something non-negotiable, you unlock a level of focus, determination, and power that most people never experience. This is the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. It's not about luck. It's not about talent. It's about a decision. A decision to raise your standards. A decision to remove quitting as an option. A decision to keep going no matter what. Once you make that decision, success is inevitable. Your daily habits define your destiny. The small actions you take every single day, the things you do when no one is watching, the choices you make in moments of weakness, these are what shape your future. Most people think success comes from one big breakthrough, one massive opportunity, or one lucky break. But the truth is, success is built in the tiny, seemingly insignificant decisions you make on a daily basis. If you look at the most successful people in the world, you'll see that they didn't get there overnight. It wasn't luck. It wasn't one big moment. It was years of disciplined action, showing up day after day, doing the things that most people are unwilling to do. They created a system of habits that guaranteed their success. And once those habits were in place, the results became inevitable. The problem is, most people have terrible habits. They wake up late, scroll mindlessly through their phones, waste time on distractions, procrastinate on their goals, and expect success to magically show up. They don't realize that every small bad habit compounds over time, leading them further and further away from the life they want. It's not the big mistakes that ruin people, it's the small repeated actions that they think don't matter. Eating junk food just this once turns into an unhealthy lifestyle. Skipping the gym just for today turns into years of neglecting your health. Procrastinating just for a little while turns into a lifetime of missed opportunities. On the other hand, the people who succeed have mastered the art of discipline. They understand that success is not about motivation, it's about building habits that make success automatic. They don't rely on willpower. They set up systems that ensure they win every single day. They wake up early. They have a plan. They stick to their commitments. They push themselves beyond their comfort zones. They do the hard things consistently until those things become second nature. Imagine two people. One person wakes up at 5 a.m. every day, exercises, reads, works on their goals, and takes massive action. The other person wakes up late, spends hours on social media, makes excuses, and waits for the right time to start. At first, the difference between them seems small, but over the course of a year, 5 years, 10 years, the gap becomes massive. The first person is in peak physical shape, financially successful, confident, and thriving. The second person is stuck in the same place, wondering why life never changed. The only difference? Their daily habits. Every habit you have is either moving you closer to your goals or further away from them. There is no neutral. Every bite of food you eat is either making you healthier or unhealthier. Every dollar you spend is either making you richer or poorer. Every action you take is either making you stronger or weaker. When you start seeing your habits this way, you realize that your future is being created in the present moment. If you want to raise your standards and achieve more, you need to take control of your habits, identify the things that are holding you back, and eliminate them. Replace them with habits that push you forward. Set clear rules for yourself and follow them without compromise. Create an environment that makes success easy. If you struggle with discipline, don't rely on willpower. Change your surroundings to force yourself to do the right thing. The difference between success and failure is not massive effort once in a while. It's small, consistent effort every single day. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. One good decision leads to another. One disciplined action creates momentum, and once you build momentum, nothing can stop you. The life you want is a direct reflection of the habits you have. Change your habits, and you will change your life. Your environment shapes you more than you realize. The people you surround yourself with, the places you spend your time, and the energy you allow into your life all play a massive role in determining your future. You might think that your mindset and discipline alone are enough to drive you to success, but the truth is, no matter how strong you are, your environment will either push you forward or pull you back. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, their habits, their mindset, their standards. They are rubbing off on you every single day. If they are lazy, unmotivated, and content with mediocrity, that energy will drag you down, whether you realize it or not. On the other hand, if they are driven, disciplined, and constantly pushing themselves to grow, you will naturally start to rise to their level. Success is contagious, just like failure is contagious. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they can stay the same while being in a toxic or unproductive environment. It's not possible. Your brain is wired to adapt to the conditions around you. If you're surrounded by people who make excuses, complain, and waste time, eventually you'll start doing the same. It happens slowly without you even noticing, but over time, it shapes your entire mindset. But when you intentionally put yourself in an environment of high standards, everything changes. When you're around people who take action, who refuse to settle, who are constantly striving for more, you can't help but level up. Their energy, their conversations, and their way of thinking push you to demand more from yourself. You start setting bigger goals. You start working harder. You start expecting more from your life because the people around you are proof that more is possible. And the more people you improve, the more you are, it's not just people, it's also the physical environment you place yourself in. If you work in a cluttered, chaotic space, your mind will reflect that chaos. If your home is filled with distractions, you'll struggle to focus. But if you create an environment that forces productivity, clean, organized, and built for success, your mind will follow. That's why top athletes train in elite facilities. why successful entrepreneurs set up their offices for peak efficiency, and why disciplined individuals create routines that structure their days for maximum output. The harsh reality is that sometimes you have to let go of people who no longer align with your vision. It's not about cutting people off out of arrogance. It's about protecting your future. If someone is holding you back, constantly feeding you negativity or making you doubt yourself, they are not helping you grow. You don't need to be rude or disrespectful, but you do need to distance yourself. You need to make room for people who challenge you, push you, and inspire you to be better. Think about it. If you were dropped into a group of Olympic athletes, you would naturally start training harder. If you were surrounded by billionaires, you would start thinking bigger about money. If you were immersed in a group of people who only talked about success, discipline, and growth, your mindset would transform. That's the power of environment. If you want to change your life, change your surroundings. Find mentors, join communities, seek out people who are doing what you want to do. Put yourself in rooms where you are the least successful person, because that will force you to rise to the occasion. Create an environment that leaves no room for excuses, distractions, or laziness. Once your environment aligns with your goals, success becomes inevitable. Most people live their lives trying to avoid discomfort, but what they don't realize is that discomfort is the price of growth. The moment you start avoiding difficulty, you start settling for less. The moment you stop pushing yourself beyond what feels easy, you stop evolving. Every great achievement, every major transformation, every success story is built on a foundation of discomfort. The people who win in life are the ones who embrace struggle, who seek out challenges, and who understand that growth only happens when you step outside of what feels safe. Think about anything worthwhile you've ever accomplished. Did it come easily? Of course not. It required effort, discipline, and the willingness to push through obstacles. But most people run the other way when they feel resistance. They quit when things get hard. They make excuses, telling themselves it's not the right time or that they're not ready yet. But there is no right time. There is no perfect moment. The people who succeed are not the ones who wait until they feel ready. They are the ones who take action even when it's uncomfortable. Your ability to endure discomfort determines your level of success. The more you can handle, the more you can achieve. Every time you choose to push through the pain instead of backing down, you build mental toughness. Every time you do something that scares you instead of avoiding it, you strengthen your confidence. Every time you keep going when you feel like quitting, you raise your threshold for what you can handle. Over time, this compounds. What once felt impossible becomes easy. What once seemed overwhelming becomes second nature. But you will never reach that level if you keep running from discomfort. The truth is, everything you want in life is on the other side of discomfort. You want to get in the best shape of your life? You have to embrace the pain of pushing your body beyond its limits. You want to build a successful business? You have to embrace the uncertainty, the failures, and the long hours that come with it. You want to become more confident? You have to face rejection, criticism, and fear over and over again until it no longer controls you. There is no shortcut. There is no easy way. The only path to success is through discomfort. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. Successful people do what is uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. They train themselves to seek out difficulty instead of running from it. They wake up early even when they don't feel like it. They do the hard work even when no one is watching. They step into situations that scare them because they know that's where growth happens. Most people live in a cycle of mediocrity because they are addicted to comfort. They choose short-term pleasure over long-term success. They hit snooze instead of waking up early. They watch TV instead of working on their goals. They stay in their comfort zone instead of taking risks. And then they wonder why nothing changes. If you want to raise your standards and achieve more, you have to rewire your brain to love discomfort. You have to see pain as progress, struggle as strength, and challenges as opportunities. Imagine what your life would look like if you embraced discomfort instead of avoiding it. If instead of saying, "This is too hard," you said, "This is making me stronger." If instead of quitting when things got tough, you leaned in and pushed harder. That's the mindset that creates champions, leaders, and game changers. The life you want is waiting for you, but you'll never reach it by playing it safe. Step into discomfort and watch how everything in your life begins to change. Accountability is the bridge between goals and achievement. It's the force that separates those who succeed from those who only dream. Most people set goals, make promises to themselves, and tell the world what they're going to do, but when the time comes to take action, they find excuses, get distracted, or lose motivation. They fail not because they lack ability or opportunity, but because they don't hold themselves accountable. The hard truth is this: if you don't take full responsibility for your life, no one else will. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. If you want to achieve anything great, you have to become your own toughest critic. You have to set high standards for yourself and refuse to let yourself fall below them. You have to stop making excuses and start demanding more from yourself every single day. The people who achieve their goals are the ones who hold themselves to an unshakable level of accountability. They don't allow themselves to slack off just because no one is watching. They don't blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for their failures. They take full ownership of their actions, their habits, and their results. If they fall short, they don't make excuses. They analyze what went wrong, adjust their approach, and get back to work. Most people fail because they give themselves too many options to escape responsibility. They allow themselves to procrastinate. They justify their laziness, and they convince themselves that they have plenty of time to achieve their goals. But time is not unlimited. Every day that passes is a day you will never get back. Every excuse you make is another step further from the life you want. If you want to be successful, you have to stop allowing yourself to break the promises you make to yourself. One of the most powerful ways to stay accountable is to create systems that force you to follow through. Tell people about your goals so they can hold you accountable. Set deadlines that create urgency. Track your progress every single day so you can see whether you're moving forward or standing still. Surround yourself with people who will push you, challenge you, and call you out when you're not living up to your potential. Make it impossible to fail by eliminating every excuse before it even appears. The most successful people in the world have the highest level of self-accountability. They don't need someone to remind them to work hard. They push themselves. They don't need motivation to take action. They rely on discipline. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They create the moment by showing up every single day, no matter what. They treat their goals like obligations, not optional dreams. That's the difference between winners and everyone else. Imagine if you held yourself accountable the way a championship athlete does. Imagine if you had the same level of discipline as the world's top performers. What if you stopped making excuses, stopped waiting for motivation, and simply did what needed to be done every single day? Your entire life would change. You would become unstoppable. Accountability is not easy, but it's necessary. If you want more out of life, you have to demand more from yourself. Stop accepting mediocrity. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. Stop allowing yourself to break your own commitments. Decide right now that you will raise your standards, hold yourself accountable, and refuse to let anything stop you. Because once you do that, success is inevitable.